Hi folks, this is your MWIS Fleeting View in association with Petzl. We begin in the early hours of Wednesday morning. A front is crossing Scotland with some rain and some hill snow, the freezing level on the back edge of this dropping to around 700 metres or so. Now that will be more or less out of the way as we go into Wednesday daytime, and the hangback of maybe a few snow flurries just for a time across eastern mountains, but the cloud breaking, some sunshine coming through, and just one or two showers with some snow and some hail on the mountains around the west coast. Around the borders, the Cheviots, and across the lakes, Pennines and Wales, that front is going to be quite slow moving during the daytime, so some persistent rain, at times breaking up into just patches of drizzle, some steadier and heavier showery rain in there at times, and again on the back edge of this feature, as temperatures drop, we'll see some snow just for a time on the high tops, falling close to freezing point then on the tops in England and Wales later in the day. That eventually will then break up and clear, so the afternoon an improving picture with time for West Wales and the Lake District. That's the weather map for Wednesday. Not too much wind around with the isobars quite spaced out, but a bit gusty around the showers in western Scotland and the strengthening northwesterly as the front begins to clear across England and Wales. For Thursday, it's a west or southwesterly wind that dominates, and a rather windy day for many places. The Highlands seeing gale force winds severe on the high tops, 50-60 miles per hour or maybe more in gusts in places, and touching gale force, 40 miles per hour or more across the tops in northern England, and quite blustery too for Wales also. We have a frontal system moving across Scotland with some fairly persistent rain and hill snow, the freezing level lifting to around 800 metres or perhaps a bit higher than that across more eastern parts of the Highlands, and typically a little bit higher, lifting above freezing point I suggest across much of England and Wales. Some cloud coming and going around the Irish Sea coastal hills and maybe the odd shower, but typically not amounting to too much, and many Pennine areas and a good part of Wales should stay largely dry. High pressure is strengthening and centering itself towards the east by the time we get to Friday. Now most places then in for a dry day. Some early banks of cloud around, some fog patches possibly lower down across England and Wales where the wind drops lighter. Touch of frost also in sheltered valleys and glens. We are watching though for a strong wind still being in the forecast across Scotland in particular, where gale force gusts could well be in the picture, especially around more western and northern regions, into some northern corries around the Cairngorms, Ben Nevis for example, and the western coast around Skye. Just watch for some rather turbulent and difficult conditions. Temperatures starting to rise though. We're starting off around freezing point on the mountains, but as we get the air being drawn more in from the south, that will lift well above freezing point to many tops. Our first glimpse at the weekend, and not a huge amount changes on that chart, but a mild air mass has wafted its way all the way across the country, so it's mild night into day, and temperatures during Saturday daytime could well be close to double figures on some mountain slopes. A dry picture, a sunny one for many, some cloud banks here and there, the odd fog patch, and a touch of frost in some valleys if it's clear and calm in the morning. A similar dry story into Sunday, again a fair amount of sunshine, some cloud banks just locally around, some frost and some fog at low levels first thing. The hills and mountains generally mild, but we may just start to see a chillier easterly drift coming in across England and Wales, so a cooler feel to things perhaps emerging here. Stay up to date with all your local information every day on the MWIS website. That is your Fleeting View in association with Petzl.